And it was established in mathematical enlightenment, I call it and in a beautiful book with ugly title, excuse me, compiled and edited by Shifman. We will not speak about it now because it's all written, but I can answer questions if you have any. I prefer to give a short overview of the whole problem. As far as I know, well, first of all, I don't use any sources because I don't have any access to any sources. The only source extremely unreliable is my memory. I am speaking only about things which I sort of saw with my own eyes. Still, I begin slightly earlier. Probably people here know that the whole problem probably first arose in the late 40s with this Stalin's campaign fighting cosmopolitanism. And at that moment, without any transition period, immediately, Jews were barred not only from admission to the university, to the MIT, but from almost anything, all aspects in life are affected. And I think from approximately 48 until precisely 53, more or less no Jews were admitted to Moscow University. I say more or less because there are many counterexamples. I know personally people who were admitted beside those years, and some of them participated in this countryside. Oh, it's the only one of them. Well, probably we need to give some definition of this concept, Jew. Who were Jews? No, certainly this never had in Soviet Russia never had any religious meaning. There was, as most people here know, an entry in Soviet passport, ethnicity, nationality in Russia. And if your parents had in a similar entry were marked as Jews, then you automatically got a passport where you were listed as a Jew, and then you were a Jew. This is not all, because many people, including myself, were able to escape this, and this entry contained something different from that, say Russian. But the admission committee had access to some additional information. First, certainly the last name. If the last name looks suspicious, and I must say, I could repeat it many times, that actually these people from admission committee in all such places, they work, frankly, very poorly. And lots of mistakes. Simply names which sounded sort of suspicious would be absolutely not Jewish. Were regarded as Jewish. Then you could be Ivanova Petrov. But there was another way to learn something, because some questionnaires contained a question about last name, also significant, name and patronymic, which is most significant, of your parents. Hence, if your grandfather was Aaron or David, then you were regarded as a Jew. And no question asked. The year of 53, well, the last year Stalin died in March, so the admission was, but it was still in 53, almost no Jews were admitted to somehow something happened and it changed overnight. 54 and 55 were years. I can testify about the year of 55 when I entered the Moscow University myself, that this issue had no significance at all. Sounds strange, but still. When I became a student, then it was certainly a system of examination and so on. It could be very much unfair, but not in this respect. Then, gradually, things changed. The Khrushchev era, from, say, 55 until precisely 64, and the beginning of Brezhnev era, gradually things deteriorated, but only gradually. I can say something about the technique of this. For admission if you apply for admission to undergraduate school to the university. There was such a thing invented by somebody very wise, which can be translated into English as marginally passing score. That is, there was a score, and some of certain points which you got on exams, and this was a passing score and a non-passing score, and you did them. Marginally passing score. And artificially, it was achieved that actually almost everybody had a marginally passing score, which, after which the significance of this exam was almost zero. It was done the following way. The main exam, main of this, actually there are 3 exams. 4, but the 4th one didn't have score. So 3 exams. 5 is the maximal score for exam. The most significant one, the most important one, written exam in mathematics. 5 problems. People who read the solutions, they do it honestly. They assign pluses, plus minuses, minus pluses, and minuses to every problem, and then there exists a certain scale, which combination of pluses and minuses corresponds to which grade. And it was done in such a way that 3 cost almost nothing, and 4 and 5 were very expensive. So up 90% of people, well, some people got failing grade of 2, I didn't mention it. Of those who got passing grade, 3, 4, and 5, 90% got 3. Then, well, oral exams were not very difficult. So, as a result, almost all people had the score of 13, as you can easily count. And then the admission committee had their own criteria how to select people. Many people suffer. Certainly, it could be just said that the Jews suffered the most because the admission committee certainly had a tendency to eliminate them. I can add that people who still got 4 or 5 written on an exam, they actually were examined very closely, very seriously, written oral mathematics and especially physics. So this 4 or 5 was sort of dangerous. Well, maybe fine. These years, early 60s, when still the situation at McMahon was not very bad, were bad in other places. And certainly it was mostly the men who should be credited for that was the rector of President Moscow University, Petrovsky, who still tried to keep Mikhail out of all this trouble. Such an island of happiness in the ocean of trouble. That such islands, as you know, are always short-living, which sadly happened to Mikhail. But I want to say something about one more thing. Admissions to graduate schools, also very interesting. In my time, I myself applied to, was admitted to graduate school in the year of 1960. And at that time, you know, all people knew a very simple thing, that to be admitted, you need to have 2 points out of 3. And the scale, very informal scale, was the following. 1 point, you are not a Jew. Only 1. 1 point, you have a published paper. It's impossible to imagine that published paper and being a Jew or not a Jew were equated like the security of this issue in comparison. And one more, diploma with honors. We called it a red diploma. It was red, like all of red. By the way, my own experience, I had these 2 points, but I sort of had them as sum of fractions. I had a published paper, this is one. Okay. I was listed as a Russian in my passport. Still, my name is not very good, and people knew very well my father, who was a Jew, okay. So still, I think I could have one half of that. And then red diploma, I didn't have a red diploma. But you know, we were given lists of all our grades. And all my grades, with one exception of Marxism-Leninism, were A's. And I had B for Marxism also. So why did you ask why no red diploma? I answer. There was some hidden secret exam. Military training. Basically nobody had A for it. And it was necessary to have a red diploma. So, red diploma, only girls and people who were freed from, who by medical reasons could not get their military training. Still one half probably I thought myself that one half I deserved my half because my grades were very good and I was admitted without any problem. I remember, excuse me for this old man, I remember how it all looked like. I tell stories about these scales, 2 points, and so on. It was all very much informal, nobody knew. But there was actually scientific council, so-called scientific council of Mikhail gave, granted this recommendation for admission to the graduate school. And the session of this council was in some sense open. That is, maybe people who were there remember a large room, 1408 if you remember the numbers, with 2 doors, where the scientific council had its session. The first door, front door, certainly was blocked, but the rear door also was blocked, but not very well, and you could squeeze there if you like, and I did this. It was very interesting, like this, with all the names of people who wanted for applied for graduate school were listed, with small pluses and minuses. But now the chairman stands here, read the name, Mikhail Fuchs, I plus. The presidium of the scientific council recommends him for admission. Other opinion? No other opinion? Next one. To go further and further and further, then minus. Such and such. The Presidium of the Scientific Council doesn't give its recommendation. Somebody wants to say something? Yes. The potential advisor stands and emotionally speaks how good this person is, and so on and so on and so on. People listen politely. Somebody else wants to say something? No. Let's vote. Who is for the admission? Several courageous people. Raise hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's against? 1, 19. Very interesting. The Presidium of the Scientific Council. I'm sure that this body never existed. It was a nickname for something. People said party committee. I don't think so. Probably there existed some behind the closed doors. Several people who really decided it, and nobody knew or decided who they were. So again, then it was possible both to become an undergraduate or graduate student of Mikhail. It then, in the year of 68, various political events, both inside and outside the university, changed everything. Before that, the chair of the Department of Mathematics was a prominent geometer, Mikhail, also very cautious man, as my friend Sasha, I don't know according to my voice, but still it was okay. Besides however, then in 68 was replaced by a Gibalov, whom Boris, right, mentioned, and or I don't know who it was, but I remember that with love and admiration, such a monster. And after it, the whole system was changed. Written exam in mathematics is so unreliable because people who read the papers well, who can trust them. Oral examination is much better. So how it is done? All people who should not be admitted, they collected in special groups, and special people. Sasha, I mean, you wrote, you published something about this, right?
This is not the mechanism, just the problems.
Yes. The most important thing, the list of problems accompanied with a list of people who offered these problems, right?
Yeah.
I cannot think about anything else. So people were collected in special groups, they were offered special problems, and in most cases, these were problems which couldn't be solved. Moreover, you know, there always are people, you know this pretty well, who can solve any problem, especially inconvenient people. You give a problem, solve. This one, solve. This, what to do? Still, this never helped. Because after several hours of this exam, the applicant got his F grade without any visible reasons. But then he was taken by Boris and Valera and Bella, and they probably took him to some place to apply instead to volunteerization and so on, but I don't know. In this period, I think it is more or less 20 years. Maybe slightly less, but more or less 20 years. People, normally almost no Jews were admitted to Mikhail. When I say almost, I mean there were still several possibilities to get there. I can think of 4 of them. First and most important, these people, admitted not poorly. They made mistakes. you could be lucky. This is one. Then it was right that children of daughters and sons and daughters of professors, full professors, of Mikhail were admitted irrespectively of anything. My big friend Olga Gelfand, the daughter of Alexander Gelfand, was admitted to vote. Certainly he had to take her exams, but absolutely as if she were not resolved. Then this notorious thing, the Soviet team for the International Olympiad. You know, Olympiad was, well, this team was composed by the results of so-called all-union Olympiad, and absolutely wrong people, me included, were actually in different juries and so on. So these teams contained just people who, may sound funny, but people who deserved it. Certainly, it was a sort of attentive team, because I don't know who then went to this Olympiad, maybe very different people. But still people who were selected for this Olympiad went to a certain camp for preparation, so that they physically could not take any position. They were admitted to the universities of their choice. So this is one more. And then, you know, there are several stories that are personal, I will not mention them. When simply parents appealed to the president of the university, to the minister, to I don't know what, all levels, different, long struggle, and in several cases known to me and known maybe to some other people here, it was success. To finish, well, and this, well, Boris Kanievsky and maybe some further speakers will speak about this. This is precisely the reason why this Jewish university was founded, and I participated in it with my big pleasure, and I'm very glad to see here several famous mathematicians, professors of different universities who were our students. I want to finish with one more thing about graduate school. There is one thing for which I personally have no explanation at all. Certainly, after the year of '68, it was absolutely impossible and impossible to get a recommendation for graduate school at Mikhail for graduate, of course, fresh graduate of Mikhail. Impossible, that's all. But then, you needed a recommendation from people who would never give you this recommendation and nothing to speak about. But you graduate not from, maybe even not from the university, you were not admitted to the university, you graduate from the Oil Institute, as Sasha went down, or from the Railroad Institute, as Freddy Malikov or Boris Shapiro, or from other place. You go to work someplace. You work for 2 years, and after it, by very strange combination of laws, you don't need any recommendation. All you need to be admitted to the graduate school of Mikhail is you should find somebody who agreed to be your advisor. It was not a problem. And you need to have a recommendation letter from the place where you work. Also not a problem. And this was actually a very huge hole in this wall. And luckily, several prominent mathematicians, again, some of them are here, were able to get their candidate degree in the worst possible years. And for this I have no explanation. Again, maybe just a laboratory way. This is the most probable. Or maybe somebody was able to invent laws and so on to do all this. Thank you for paying attention. Yes.
Another question to you. I would like to add some comments
To the stop
previous.
there will be a panel discussion after the talks, so maybe you will just take podium.
I would prefer now, if possible.
But now,
After
questions to me. Just Sasha, you're right. But questions to me. Other questions to me.
Questions, comments to this talk.
Yes, Boris. You know everything. I don't know what you're going to ask.
Well, I think it was much easier to get in the PhD program by correspondence, but not to the actual PhD program, which is published.
Well, I know many people who did it.
I never succeeded.
I can comment on this. The way I remember it, 1983 was the year when they started to admit Jewish students to graduate school. I went next year, 84, and it was still a miracle, but it was second year in a row. I know many people who got there.
No, you can tell
You can tell 83.
much earlier.
No, 83, then drop 83. I think it was 83.
Well, no better.
You said that 68 stopped getting.
I said 68, yes. This was the year.
I was admitted at 71, so it's
Well, I said, I can only repeat. Whatever I say, there are counterexamples. Can you say that there are many people like you? Yeah.
I cannot say many.
71 was better than 71 was great. But still 68, the dean was finished and then this oral exams. Again, maybe something was better when it started. Thank you for that.
I have a suggestion as far as the schedule is concerned. I suggest that we first follow this schedule, all the announced talks are given, and then we have a panel discussion. So those who want to give a short presentation, panel discussion, say 5 minutes, please let me know and we will try to participate. Yes, sir.
Huh? Если это короткая 8 минут и 3 докладчиков,
Перерыв.
then we will vote.
What are you suggesting? Why now? I think it's better to have some plan than no plan. So the next speaker is how the people from university was born.
Prepared some notes of my topic in both English and Russian, and you can take it to the story started 29 years ago in July 1978. At that time, the teacher of the well-known teacher of well-known mathematical school number 2, Valery Senderov, had his first attempt at monitoring of the entrance examination to the prestigious Moscow universities, like Fistech, MATMGU, and BFI. He assisted his former students and my classmates in preparing mathematically and legally based documents for appealing committee. It was required because applicants of Jewish origin, as you hear, had been treated unfairly by so-called killer problems and other methods with aim to prevent their entrance to this university. Among the graduates of mass schools, the percent of Jewish students, what about 1/4 to 1/3. With the help of Sandra, I personally have successfully appealed in FISTEC the oral mathematical exam from 3 to 4. After about a week at FISTEC, Sandra moved to Moscow University to proceed with his activities against appelling committee of Mehmat, as described Boris Kanevsky. Apparently, it was a request of the time, and at the exactly same time, Bella Subbotovskaya, totally independently of Centrov, began the same attempt to help attendance and at another faculty, namely VMK, the Department of Computational Mathematics and Cybernetics. In my opinion, Bella and Sandorov haven't known one to another at that time, but they met for the first time on the stairs of the MGU main building. Each of them supported their own circle of math school graduates, but naturally both sets, if they didn't intersect, they were very closely related. My successful appealing notwithstanding, I was not admitted to FISTEC and started my studies in Moscow Civil Engineering Institute. Zhenya Shifman shared the same fate after his failure to admit to VMK, where he met Bella Subbotovskaya during his appealing process. Examination period was over, and Bella started to think of the ways to help her proteges who couldn't attempt to proceed with their mathematical education. The first idea was quite simple. To participate in existent mathematical seminars. One of them, I mean, that was something called discrete mathematics in Stiklov Institute, had already started. And so in late September or in the beginning of October, Bella invited some of the students to her apartment with the aim to To explaining subject of first this class. There were four of us. Einstein, by his documents, our book, yes, it was really Einstein who failed his math test. It's not yet. And Sally Silitsky, Jerry Flickman, and myself. During this meeting, the idea was raised to why not proceed with the special course of mathematics which Sandra taught us in second school, but on a voluntary basis, and invite all our classmates who couldn't attend to July universities to participate. Bella's offered her apartment as a meeting place, and 1 week later, the first lecture by Sandra took place. About a dozen students arrived, and naturally, more than 85% of them was Jews. The room on Nametkin, which have very unusual appearance. There are many musical instruments, piano, violin, cello. I think changed have some transformations. The cello was shifted from the room, and the small chalkboard on unstable record took its place. Simultaneously, Bella started to recruit her Mikhail classmates to participate as lecture. And I think from the second or third meeting, Alexander Vinogradov and Alexei Sasinsky started their courses. One very important part of the learning was preparation of the lecture notes. After each lecture, 2 or 3 students received this task. During the week following the lecture, they, based on the paper records and their own notes, prepared the handwritten text and all required figures and other illustrations. The handwritten text was reviewed by lecturer and by Bella herself. And after all corrections, she typed. At the beginning, when the number of participants was not so large, the exactly samizdat procedure, Erika берет 4 копии, was applied. The authors of the notes also inserted all formulas into the copy. And 2 weeks after the lecture, all of the students have their own printed copy. Later, an anonymous source of photocopy was found. I think that Class Connect may explain this more. But for obvious reason, that time I didn't ask Bella about it. The photocopies and also the all sandwiches which Bella prepared with great care for every meeting required a certain amount of the cash, and this cash was collected for these expenses only, not been for Bella herself or for someone else else's salary. And limit of the sum was, I think, the few rubles. Was definitely not Turkey, as you remember.
79-го года пятерки.
Different time.
Еще раз, 79-го года именно пятерки.
Yes,
thus, the People's University was born. And a small remark concerning the name. Bella was aware about Sandrov's involvement, and as a consequence of possible attention of the KGB to our meetings. Therefore, she tried to put aside any mention of politics, but it was not possible due to the nature of the organization that came to the life, but by her enthusiasm in very special spaces. She used to say, it is a people's university, and after the pause she added, and we know of what.
Questions, comments? I will start writing on this other blackboard. Names of those who want to participate in the discussion after those are over. I suggest 5 minutes as a target for talk. So if anyone wants to get into this, let me know. The next talk is by Andrei Reznikov. He will share it in English. This title is long, so I will read it.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers who suggested that I try to say a few words from the perspective of a college student of People's University in Russian, Народный университет and you for the university as opposed to the Mehmat. Okay, so after such a request was passed to me, I thought a little bit and I found it difficult to fulfill this task for 2 reasons. One, I have very little recollection of Bella Brown, personal recollection of Bella Brown. And the second, I dislike to talk about the life in the 80s in Moscow. For the reasons which, very well versed by postmodern Russian part, if there is need for explanation, there is nothing to explain. So, but I was pressed to think the second time, and I agreed to do this for one reason, probably the only one reason. And this is the deep ache which I guess all of us share, all graduates, people who ever attended this university organized by Bella Abramovna, and we still share this feeling towards Bella Abramovna and all who participated in organization and teaching in this university. And this is my attempt to say thank you from the depths of my heart for what you've done to us and what the lesson you taught us at the very beginning of our adult life. My task much easier than I thought now because I don't need to explain how the system of rejection worked in admittance to the MEHMAT. I will say still probably a few words about my particular case just to illustrate something of my personal things, or how it looked like at that time through the eyes of 16-year-old person somewhat inclined toward the mathematics. When I thought about it, I realized that I probably should serve as an example, I don't know, but a good example of a product of a Moscow system of pre-university education. So I, from a young age, thanks to my parents, one related from Mehmat, another one fought in this bad time of non-admittance to any place, but nevertheless managed to even work at his part, which is much worse than Mehmat. So thanks to my parents, I, from the early age, was gently pushed in the direction of mathematical system. And I mean, from the age which I had no anything in my head of any kind, about mathematics. So I realized that I never knew any school other than mathematical school. From the first grade to the seventh, I was in a mathematical school, which is maybe little known, number 52, which apparently is the first mathematical school in Moscow. And from the grade 8 till the end of the school years, I was in the 57th school, the one which always lost to the second one. So I'm a product of a mathematical school. I started, even before I got to the 57, I started to go to mathematical circles, which were in the second school actually run by people. And these were very good math circles. It was from the 6th grade. One of the graders of that circle was Comrade, where I met him. And then I also, from an early age, namely from the 6th grade, I went to my first math competition, Moscow math competition, and participated in twice in the 7th grade because there is no 6th grade competition, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. And these were quite good competitions. By the 9th or 10th grade, somehow, because the system of education in 57 school is not traditional one, we have two parallel systems. One with an excellent teacher, Mikhail Gordon, who's still teaching there, amazingly. And another one which was parallel and run by students, the graduate students of Mehmat, and the loose supervision of, as it turns out, quite known computer science human beings. So by 10th grade, my mentor, not related to that was tired of me, and he suggested I go to the university to Mehmet to participate in some student seminar, and he sent me to participate in the student seminar of Landis. So first time I went to Mehmet was in 10th grade, and there were many people who were doing that kind of things. I doubt I learned something from that, but I still remember how Landis explained some beautiful things like index of a vector field, or what is a Morse function. And I read some books like calculus on manifolds, speed and some parts of it, so I was exposed to mathematical works. Mathematical works existed in Moscow to some extent. But that was it. That was supposed to be the end of my mathematical education, as was designed by Ivan Matveevich Vinogradov and alike. I was not supposed to be doing anything else. As you heard, in early 70s, to be admitted to Moscow, to Mehmet, was unheard of, or it was even not Russian roulette, or some chances won, and I don't know how many bullets in the revolver, 5. But here the chances were much less. And I vividly remember Andrei Turin, late Andrei Turin, who was a friend of our family, coming in the winter of 80, to tell that there is no point for me to trying to be admitted to Mehmet, for the reason that the dean of Mehmet, Kastrykin, was removed before his time was up, and replaced by notorious anti-Semite Lupanov. As I learned much later, Kastrykin paid the price of basically mangling the admission of Polterovich and Belly. So he was removed for that reason. Otherwise, I would have. I should say that 1980, of course, a very special year for Soviet Union, which is usually associated with the beginning of the Afghanistan war. But it was one of the things which were happening in the Soviet Union. We just somehow didn't pay attention, maybe at the beginning at least, that things were changing. For example, as it turns out, I participated in the last Free Moscow Olympiad. So it was organized in 1935 by people like, the first head was Alexandrov, then Kolmogorov, and so on. And my time, people who were heads of the Moscow Olympiad were, I remember, Manin, from Manin, Tikhanira, Uspensky. They were good mathematicians and honest people. So Mishchenko was the head of the Moscow Olympiad in my last year, 1980. He wrote what is called a donos, or report to party committee. And from now on, from 81 till, I don't remember, 86 or 87, the head of the Moscow Olympiad was, surprise, surprise, Lupanov. So the only person who kept this position for I don't know, 6 years. And I don't think the Moscow Olympiad ever recovered from it. So Konstantinov invented another way, but Moscow Olympiad just disappeared. It destroyed Moscow Olympiad because for that reason that they didn't want the winners of Moscow Olympiad and then the all Soviet Union Olympiad to fly in their face to not to be admitted to the Mehmat. So these people just didn't care about anything. They were ready to destroy anything on their way to, I don't know, making Mehmat Juden fry. And I should say that there's nothing special with Mehmat. Mehmat was just left the last one where job needs to be done. Because Fismark was liberated long before that, and I guess other departments like history also, that any Jews would go to the history department. So it's just the last one which we saw. That's it. The last one that anyone cared to document. Right. So Vinogradov, Mission, and so on decided that I shouldn't do any mathematics, and probably I was heading towards some of the Nichavo, but actually it was maybe a dream, because as I graduated later on from Karasinka, I couldn't find any job. But Bella Subbotovskaya decided otherwise. And I don't know how it worked exactly, but people who were around people wanting to study mathematics, who were not admitted to Mehmat, learned that there is a place where one should go if they want to listen to some mathematics. In my case, again, it wasn't coincidence, because my mother and Bella from the same year, actually from the same class from Mehmat. So my parents told me, as usual, you should go to the so-and-so address and hear and see what happens there. Okay, and so I found myself wandering in these what is called Khrushchevs, or small buildings, built in the 50s, with small apartments. And I'm wandering, looking for this address and meeting some typically looking people, even some of my classmates going there. And so there we are, I would say about 30, 40 people squeezed in this two-room small apartment on autumn, hot, late afternoon. And so what we had for the starters, as far as I remember, and I might remember it's wrong, we had 2 lectures. We had Dmitry Borisovich Fuchs, about lines on a cubic, and yeah. You even got a cubic yourself. I think later on I understood where you got the cubic. No, it was another?
That one was destroyed by one of your classmates. I took it from the geometric cabinet.
Yes.
It was made out of German plaster.
You brought it yourself.
But it was in year 57 school, this master place. And one of the classmates probably destroyed it.
No, I think it was in... Who was it? Okay, you will figure out. So, and another one is, if I remember correctly, was the lecture by Kaczynski on the group theory and the cube of Rubik, or this puzzle. And then we were told that in a week time, so 2 weeks time, we should appear, those who want to attend the regular lectures in mathematics should or could appear at some place. I think it was the school of Bella Brown School for the Saturday lectures. After all, it's people of Jewish university, so it should be on Saturdays. Okay, so and for the 2 years from that moment, almost every Saturday, except holiday in the summer and something in the winter, and maybe something else, I don't remember. We had 3 lectures in a row, and usually a seminar on that or another topic. And the lectures in the first year were linear algebra by Hooks, algebra, which essentially followed the length by Sasinski, and lectures and analysis, which didn't follow anything, by Andrei Zelevinsky. And in the second year, we had with the various differential geometry, and continuation by Zelevinsky, and lectures about commutative algebra and algebraic geometry by Fagan. I'll say something about it later. Okay, so